Hey Guitar Champion, what's going on? Justin Hombach here, back from my practice cave, and welcome to today's video where we are going to take a deep look into the full song Born by Nevermore. Here we go. I choose to make a lesson about this song because of two reasons. One, first of all, I think it's one of the most intense and most frightened rhythm work by Jeff Loomis. The chorus is it's incredible how intense this riff can be, but on the other hand it's a really good exercise for our right hand and for some really cool motives on the left hand. And the second reason is because this solo is one of the most famous solo by Jeff Loomis, and I love this solo. It's the first solo I've ever heard by Jeff from Nevermore, and it totally blew my mind back in the day when I was 16 years old and heard this song, this solo. This was a complete new world for me, and I always wanted to learn this solo, and now I'm here not only playing this solo, but on the other hand also teaching this solo to you guys, because it's a lot of fun to learn, to practice and to master. Alright, before we starting with the lesson, two things. One, the guitar from Jeff is tuned a half step below, but in this video for demonstration purpose I have standard tuned guitar, alright. So if you want to play with the recording, tune down half a step. The second thing is our shoutout section, this section where I'm going to take two comments of the day and I'm going to respond to them, answer them, or just give a little like for them, because this section is for my community to say thank you to you guys. Without you I wouldn't sit here and do this kind of work. Let's check out the two comments of today. Here we go. Time for the shoutout section. Oh, believe me, I will sing a lot in this lesson. Okay, the first comment is a really funny one. It's from, or the funny story behind this. It's from John Williams, and he asked, "Do you live in Iceland?" Flag on the wall. Twinkle smiley. Well, I do not live in Iceland. The flag which you are referring to is from my old rehearsal room, and where I used to do videos 1 year ago or something like that. And it's from our drummer from my progressive metal band EOS, and he's a huge Iceland fan. So he took the flag and put it on the wall. But I don't live in Iceland. I'm in fact from Germany, and I live here in Germany in good old Bad Schwalbach. Alright, the second comment is from a good friend of mine, from Miguel Marquez. Before I go to the comment, I just want to shout out Miguel as a person, as a guitar player, because this guy is furious. He is the real shit. Check out Miguel Marquez, really intense, technical, neoclassical kind of guitar player with his own kind of Hispanic style. Really awesome. Check out Miguel Marquez. And his comment is: "Wie du so viele Songs lernst, bravo." It's a German comment. I'm going to translate it to you. Well, or at least I will try to translate it as something like, "So awesome how you're learning. So awesome how you learn so many songs in such a short amount of time." And thank you a lot. It means a lot from you for me. And the thing is, yes, I can tell you, sometimes it's not easy to learn all those songs in that short amount of time. Sometimes I only have days or a week to learn it. And this can be stressful. And sometimes I feel a little bit burnt out, and especially in times like these where my life is really strange at the moment. But I am here with a bigger purpose, and this purpose is to inspire you guys and to teach you guys and show you guys how you can play stuff where you always thought I couldn't play that. And I'm going to show you how you can play that, because everybody can play it, because guitar playing is so much fun. And with this bigger picture, it gives me a lot of energy, and I'm so thankful for that, because without all the response from all the people saying how I inspire them, I wouldn't do this here. And this is one of the greatest things I have achieved in my life, and this is something it's worth fighting for. And of course to play guitar, because playing guitar is a lot of fun. Alright, so much for the shoutout section. I love this section. Alright, if you want the free tabs for today's lesson, so the complete tabs for Born by Nevermore, then check the description box. There's a link where you can download the free tabs. Alright, now let's start with the lesson. Here we go. So before I start with the lesson, I just want to say something about my sound and the gear I'm using here, because I'm using this little pedal over here from Dead World Audio, and I have received this pedal because the owner and inventor of Deadwell Audio and the guy who made this pedal is a student of mine. And I think this is pretty awesome and I really want to support him. And this one is a really nice overdrive which I set in front of my amp. And with this pedal I get a really awesome and tight rhythm sound, and this is pretty good for especially this kind of music. In fact, there's a pretty cool video out there from Ola Englund where he is explaining how to get this kind of Jeff Loomis sound, and he's also using a booster in front of his amp, and I'm doing this as well with this here. And I'm not the biggest pedal geek. I'm more like the digital guy, and what works for me, that works. One profile, one kind of style, ready to go. I'm more kind of simplistic here when it comes to pedal and gear, but this little thing really blew me away and I want to support my student Daniel, so check out Deadwell Audio. Link is in the description box. Alright, and now let's begin with the lesson. So we are starting with riff number one. Riff number one is the intro riff, and it's also a riff from the verse. The structure of this song is a little bit special. We are changing a lot between different riffs in the verse, and we don't have really consistency here. But this makes this song pretty interesting as well. So the first riff is this one. And up the tempo. And this riff we are dividing into two sections. One is the single note section, and herefore we are starting in the F sharp with F sharp. No, not sorry, F sharp. We have a 7th string here, so the 2nd fret on the lowest string is not the F sharp, it's the C sharp, right. We are in this kind of D sharp Phrygian scale. And we're leading from the C sharp to the D sharp with a hammer on. And then we're going from the E to the D sharp. Now, first I thought, okay, why not playing it like this? Because the problem is after the E we need to reach to the F sharp and Corona. And this is a pretty tricky move to go from with your pinky from the E here to the F sharp and stuff like this. So what Jeff is doing here, he is doing the finger transition, the switch between those two sections when we are going to the E and back to the D sharp. Then we're playing the F sharp and the E again with pull-offs, playing back to the pedal note, which is in this case the D sharp. Then we're playing an A power chord on the 5th fret on the E string, and now we're playing all the stuff again, but with power chords, and not with hammer on in between, but slides, so we have more like this figure. And there's one kind of phrasing thing which I think is really important here, because when we are repeating this power chord section, maybe hear it, I'm palm muting the first note to give this a little bit more of a tightness. And you can hear this in the recording as well pretty well, how Jeff is also using palm muting to tighten up a little bit this repetition. And then we're going to the verse riff, or let's say the riff where Warrell Dane is singing over, rest in peace Warrell Dane, and this goes like this. And here we are pretty much outlining the vocal melody, and we are starting with the, what is this? The A here, on the 10th fret on the B string, playing it in octaves, so we have the 12th fret on the A string, going one step below, going a minor third below, and another one step below. So we are outlining here the E Phrygian dominant scale, or let's say the A harmonic minor scale starting on the A. And then we're playing the same thing over just one step below, 1/2 step below. Now, and if you're interested, the second part is playing the major third of every octave. So we have this kind of figure. And now together, when we're trying to play this together, we have this kind of sound. Let me try to recreate this. Sorry. Even if those are major thirds, they're sounding pretty demonic and pretty brutal, and I really love this kind of sound. Now imagine that with the great vocal style of Voraldane, and you have really awesome section. Okay, so much for the verse. It repeats now, so we are playing this one twice. Octaves. Back to the single note line. Power chords. Whoops, sorry. Octaves. Leading to the technical death metal riff. Okay, the next riff is a pretty big inspired death riff or death metal riff, and I really like it because it's really groovy but aggressive and brutal. So let's check out the riff. It goes like this. First, let me maybe turn off the delay here. From my beautiful multi-amp. Yeah, multi-amp, got the best sound of you. Just a little jingle here. So the riff goes like this. Sorry. And here we have something which is pretty typical for this kind of death metal riffing. We have a figure, a phrase, and we are repeating this phrase just 1 minor third higher. And the phrase goes like this. So we have here the 2nd fret on the E string, playing with our roll technique, the 2nd fret on the B string, playing 1, 2 as a chromatical approach, and playing the 1st fret on the E string. We're now not going back to the 2nd fret on the B string after we have hit the 1st fret on the B string, we're going to the low B string. And now we're taking the same figure and playing it minor third higher, so here on the 5th fret. Then we're going another minor third higher on the 8th fret. And together we have going to the next section. And here we're playing diminished fifths, transforming those in half step below. Starting here on the 6th fret on the E string, playing 6-5 on the B string, 5-4 on the B and E string, and then 3 and 4 on the E and B string. And in between that we're playing the low B string, so we have together this kind of idea. After this technical death metal riffage here, we're going to another really cool death metal inspired riffage with a little bit more of groovier sound. And it goes like this. Up to tempo. So in here we have 2 times the same thing. The only thing that differs a little bit is the last bar, and we are starting with the D sharp again, and we are playing this kind of idea, and we are we're not bending, we are barring here the 4th fret on the B string and the 4th fret on the E string, and playing the octave of the D sharp to create this kind of D sharp sus sound, sus4. And we are hammering from the low B string to the D sharp, and this is how we start this riff. For the right hand, my pattern is when we are starting on, or when we are going to the D string, the A string, I play up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down. So I have 2 downstrokes in a row, and this really helps me to get a little bit more groovier kind of sound and to get more attack and punch. I'm not really sure how Jeff is doing it. Maybe you can figure out how Jeff is doing it and write it down in the comments, or write me your version how you would like to play this down in the comments. So, and then we're going to this chord, an E major. So we're staying with our index finger on the 4th fret of the E string, and we're playing the E with the middle finger and the octave of it with our pinky. Doing again the hammer on from the B string. Going back to the D sharp, and now the transition from the E major to the D sharp is this one here. We're sliding with our pinky from the 5th fret to the 4th fret. Sorry, from the 7th fret to the 6th fret. So, and then we're playing again the D sharp, and from the D sharp we're going to C diminished. Here, and we're playing this one twice. We have the 3rd fret on the B string, the 4th fret on the E string, and the 5th fret on the D string, and we're playing this one twice. Sorry. And then, when we have reached the B string, we're playing this figure here. Just the octaves, and we're playing C, high C, then playing it 3 times. Playing the octave again, and 2 times the C again. So the actual phrasing or the actual figure here is more like this one, but repeated. Then we're repeating the whole section, but the last bar, as I've said, is a little bit different. For the last bar here, we are playing this figure. When we have reached the B string, we are playing this idea, which shifts the accent a little bit more. Before that we have the high C on the upbeat, and now we have the high C on the downbeat. So, first time and the second time, this kind of idea. Cool! So much for the 2 technical death metal riffs, like I say them. Now we are going to the Phrygian dominant Arabic kind of riff. So let's check this one out. Now we're moving on to this riff. Sorry? I love this riff. It's with the voice of Robert Dane over it, his singing kind of style. It's really awesome. So let's check this one out. So most of the time we are in this B Phrygian dominant kind of scale. Sometimes we are moving on to the flat 5. We are letting this one in a little bit sneaky here and there. But let's check out this riff. We are starting with this kind of idea. Sounds pretty Friedman-ish, I would say. It's really typical Marty Friedman kind of figure here. And as we all know, Jeff Loomis is highly inspired by Marty Friedman. We're starting off with a B, playing B, C in the 7/8 fret. Then we are playing E, F sharp on the A string. And playing C, B on the D string. Playing A, B. After that we're doing a little hammer on a pull-off. A little triller here there between the A and the B. And now we're playing the flat 5, the F instead of the F sharp. Having this kind of run. Now we're repeating it, but we're not doing this hammer on a pull-off kind of thing. We are moving to those chords, and here we have 12th fret on the G string and 9th fret on the D string with our index. I'm playing after the G, and after the G we are playing the F sharp, and we are ringing them out so they are bending together those notes. Okay, together with riff number 1. Now the transition to the next riff, which is the repetition of riff number 1, is a bit trickier because we need to jump from here with our index finger from the D string back to the E string. This can be a little bit tricky. Try to focus on that when you're practicing this riff, that this transition is really nice and clean. Sorry. Then we're repeating it, but instead of going to the D and onto the G string, we are going to the G and to the B string and playing 10 and 13. Going to the 12th fret on the B string. So we have together. Playing this kind of melody in the end. And here we are playing G, F sharp, E, G, F sharp. Okay, and after this melodic section here, this Phrygian dominant section, we are repeating some of the riffs before, the verse riff, and then we are going to the chorus. But before we are going to the chorus, let me take a little sip from my Rockstar because the chorus is pretty intense. I think for me personally it's the hardest part of the song, so get ready. Will be really interesting. Alright, so let me play first the chorus slow. A little bit faster. And let's try it up to tempo. Alright, this goddamn chorus. So first let's check out the chords of this chorus. And the chords are A, going to F, going to D, going to E. So there are basically pretty simple chords and pretty normal, usual chords. The chorus sounds so awesome because of, obviously that was what Jeff is playing here. Alright, so let's break that down. The A minor chord we are outlining like this. And this section is so hard because of the right hand. It's really, really weird and tricky for the right hand. And all the low string that we have here, the low A string, not the low string, sorry, the open string, the open A string that we have in this section. So, we are starting with this kind of power chord feeling. Playing low A string, low again, sorry, open A string. Going to the octave, before that we're playing the fifths obviously. And then we're not going to the 12th fret like in some tabs are notated, but there's a pretty good video of Jeff where he's demonstrating the chorus, and there you can see that he's going to the low A string, just the open A string again. Then we're playing the 7th, the G. And this little run here. 12, 15, 14, 12, going to the E string, 15, 13. Okay, after that run and after the A, we are going to the C, no sorry, not the C, the F, and And here we are basically having the same idea, the same sequence, but we are outlining a C9 chord. But the rest stays the same, and the run we have in the end is of course in the A minor scale, so we have this kind of figure. 8, 12, 10, 8, going to the E string, 12, 10. So, and then we are repeating this as well, but in the repetition we are not doing the run in the end, we are playing like this. Outlining this kind of F by stacking up those power chords. And here we have first this figure from the F9, 12, 10, 8, then we have 13, 12, 10, starting on the B string and going to the E string, playing 15, 13, and 12. After that we're going to the D, playing again a D9 or outlining the D9 chord. Playing the A minor run here, 5, 8, 7, 5, 8, 7. Going to the E, and here now we have an E minor flat 9 chord that we are outlining. And when we are repeating this one, we are going again. Sorry, this is the ending. Having kind of the same idea like on the F, but outlining the flat 9 here. So we have in frets 10, 9, 7, 12, 10, 9, and 13, 12, 10. So, and this is for the left hand, the complete chorus. Let me play this one again for you guys. In the end of the E, he's not... Sorry, I was telling you this wrong. He's not going to the 9th fret on the D string, he's going to the 9th fret on the G string. To the E again. So now I'm going to tell you a little secret here, because I was miming this, of course. A lot of stuff from my covers are played live and I don't have to prove myself, but I only have one camera, or one really good camera, but I want to experiment with different lenses. So I was miming this and I was completely miming it wrong. This happened. I didn't play this run. Over the D and the E I played something like this, which is wrong. So if you're wondering, what he's playing in this cover? Well, it's mimed and it's mimed wrong. And I don't have to prove myself for being, but I only play live for stuff like that. Yes, I do miming, but I think you can see in my teaching here that I can play it as well, up to tempo. Alright, let's check out the right hand. So let's check out the right hand. The right hand is pretty basic because instead of like on this kind of riff, we're remembering back where I said, okay, I'd use 2 downstrokes. Here we are using basic alternate picking. Everything is played down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So we have it's a bit weird in the beginning because we have to do a lot of string skipping and we have to do a lot of pick bouncing and do a lot of switching between upward and downward pick standing here, but it's really worth to check out, and I think it's a little bit more fluent when you want to play it fast if you're using basic alternate picking. Alright, so much for the chorus. pretty awesome chorus. And those were all riffs from the song. And now after we have done every riff from Nevermore, or I hope I didn't forget any riff. Well, when I forgot a riff, sorry for that, but you can always join the Improvisation group on Facebook to tell me, dude, there was one riff you didn't teach, and then I can do a live stream and teach it there. But I think we had covered every riff, yeah? So now it's time to move on to the solo. Let's check out the solo. The first part of the solo is just basic bending from the B string 22nd fret to the 24th fret, and by that playing the 19th fret on the E string. We're doing a little bit of tremolo picking here, building it up and then releasing the bend. And now the next lines is something which was pretty hard to figure out. They are not difficult, but it's pretty hard to play it exactly like on the recording, because Jeff is improvising them, I would say. Because when you're looking at live versions, he's always playing a different kind of idea. For example, there's this young guitar video where he's demonstrating the solo, and there he's playing this kind of riff. Something like this, I don't know it right now, but it's a bit different, and it showed me, okay, Jeff was basically improvising those lines, but the line he's using 80% or nearly 80% on the record is something like this. So we're starting on the 22nd fret of the B string, playing it 3 times, going 20-19, doing hammer on a pull off, going to the 21st fret on the B string, sorry, the G string, doing this kind of repetitional thing on the B string, and resolving into the 21st fret on the G string, where he's doing his really trademarkish, great and awesome vibrato. Then first we're starting here we're starting with some tremolo picking on the 22nd fret on the E string, going to the 20th fret, and then we're going to play this line. Then we're playing this exact same line, 1 octave below. Then we are continuing this line all through the scale. So when we have reached here the 16th fret on the D string, we're playing what is this, 19, 16, 19, going down the scale, and then playing just basically an ascending version of the scale. Then we're doing a little bit of tremolo picking here on the 19th fret on the B string, doing this kind of hammer on pull off thing between 19, 20, 19, 17, and resolving to the 19th fret of the G string. Then we are doing this kind of pentatonic run, where we are playing, well, it's not really pentatonic, but we have 5 notes. We're starting with 19, 20, 22 on the B string, 19 on the E string, 22 on the E string, and bending to the 24th fret. So this is basically the first section of the solo. Let me repeat that for you guys. Now we are going to this awesome kind of bluesy and really interesting sounding idea where he is taking the 2nd fret on the G string and he's just bending it up really slow and slightly and doing some tremolo picking in the right hand. This sounds especially pretty awesome with this ba-ba. Alright, then we're going to this section. And here we have a really interesting scale shape where only using the 4th fret, the 5th fret and the 7th fret on every string. So on every string, on the B string, the G string and the D string. We're playing this kind of sequence. So, and after this section we're going to some really intense diminished playing here, diminished arpeggios, and I love those arpeggios. It's a really interesting take on playing diminished arpeggios. In slow it goes like this. And then comes one of the most weirdest arpeggios I've ever played. It goes like this. Sorry. I always forget that last one. Alright, so the interesting thing here about this diminished arpeggio is normally we guitar players tend to play diminished arpeggios or sweep arpeggios as well, more like this. So we have a pull off on the high string and then pick and a down sweep. But here he is taking those two fingerings and combine those with sweep picking. So slow this is pretty easy, but when it gets faster it can get pretty intense and pretty weird, especially for our left hand. And I really had to focus not playing too much like this. A little bit over exaggerating here right now, but to play every note as a triplet really clean and not one note is a little bit longer or shorter, this is not that easy, really, believe me. Ugh, it looks easy in the beginning, but it's not that easy. Okay, now then he is moving this one minor third higher, and live he's also moving it a minor third higher, but he's not doing this on the recording. So, and now we're going to the really weird arpeggio section. And here we have two kind of arpeggios. We have a diminished one and we have an augmented one. So we are combining diminished arpeggios and augmented arpeggios. This one is an augmented arpeggio. And then we're moving this one up, the tritone, the flat 5. Sorry. Up to that point. You need to be careful when we're going to the B string. The B string is tuned different than every other string. So here we don't have this shape anymore. We have this one here. And here Jeff is also thinking in visuals on patterns, because he's not playing the augmented like we would play the augmented when we really want to play an augmented sound. This is why I think Jeff wasn't thinking particularly, oh okay, I'm combining diminished and augmented arpeggios. Jeff was more thinking in patterns, because here this is not an augmented shape anymore, but it's the same idea pattern wise. So for the right hand it's the same idea like here, that with the only difference that we have to make a little jump from the last string to one string higher. Sorry. And we're ending this section with a really cool bending, slow bend from the 20th fret to the 22nd fret. So with that bending we are leading into the last part of the solo. The last part of the solo goes like this. First we have this little melody. We're playing 19, 20, 19, 22 on the B string now. 20, 19. And then we're playing a shreddy line, and those lines are again a little bit improvised. So I rather teach this like in my Jason Becker video, if you have seen them, that I show you some key positions here, some key elements and what you can play around them to create your own lines, but in the style of Jeff Loomis here. So we are starting off with a run in E minor, starting on the E, the 17th fret on the B string, tapping on the 24th fret on the E string, and then we're playing this figure here. This is pretty the same like Jeff is playing, and now comes the confusing part. Now we are playing around the E harmonic minor scale, but always with this kind of pattern and idea. And another really interesting key point here is that we are playing the minor 7 and the major 7. Then, when you're listening closely, and I really want you to listen closely because it really trains your ears, then you'll hear that he's going up again, that he's ascending again, playing this kind of idea. And then he's playing just a descending scale run, resolving into the 30th fret of the D string. And this is not also the ending for this line and for this idea, this shreddy line. This is also the ending for the complete solo. This was the complete song of Born. What an awesome song! So many cool riffs and cool solo. It's just awesome. If you liked today's video, then it would be an honor for me if you could hit the subscribe button or the notification bell, and of course leave a like. Now it's time for me to go back into the practice cave to get prepared for the next upcoming lesson, which will be a really awesome Jeff Loomis song called Miles of Machine. Can't wait to do this. I hope I'm going to see you in my next lesson, in my next video. So far, cheers and stay progress. Bye.